I met Tim through a friend of mine who worked in the records department at the sheriff's department. She gave him my number, and we talked on the phone for about a week, and then we started going out, and 6 months later we got married. He was 19, but he was extremely grown up for his age. I was also young, so, and he was very, very kind and very sweet, and he was just a good man. I remember what I was wearing and what he was wearing, and I still have that outfit. But I had told him on the phone that I was really tall. I don't know why I just didn't tell him how tall I am, but I was really stressed out about that. So he had shoes that had pretty good heel, but he was taller than I was anyhow. So. But he bought them just for me because I was so worried about being tall. That he was a very caring man, and he was very positive. I never heard him say a bad word about anybody, not ever. And he loved his children. He loved his family. He loved his job. It's all he ever wanted to do. And he was a strong man. He's quiet, but when he talked, it was usually worth listening to. In different ways and different kids. And our daughters, Annie and Erin, I see in the way that they react or interact with their children, and the way that they're bringing their children up. I see his gentleness and his commitment. In my son Alex, he's also a very sweet young father who has that same gentleness with his children. He was actually a military policeman in the reserves for 6 years. And I think part of that was to honor his father. In my younger boys, Will and Tim, they don't have families yet, but Will has Tim's quiet strength. And if a situation comes along, then Will just handles it, and that's how Tim was. And our son Tim, that was born after Tim died, he is the sweetest young man. He has a heart of gold, and his sweetness reminds me of his father. Tim was always a man with a plan. I remember when I found out I was pregnant with our 6th child, I was a little scared because, it's a lot of children, and it's not that I didn't want him, but it was just, wow. And he came home that night, and I told him how I was feeling, and he said, I told him about the baby, and he said, well, let's have a baby then. And he went on and he told me what his plan was, because he always had a plan. And he said, this weekend I'm going to go to the hardware store, I'm going to start finishing the basement. This house was new then. So I'm going to start that on Sunday, and it's going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And I believed him, and he died the next day. But our last interaction was, he had a plan, and he was positive, and it's going to be okay. And that pretty much sums up Tim for all the years that I had him. And I would just want him to be remembered as a humble man who truly cared about this community and served with honor and courage.